I'll feed all you fuckers. This is my birthday gift. I'm a Taurus. That's my sign, Taurus. Okay, so in all honesty, I don't know what I want to talk about today. Kinda don't. I was asked this question, why do I talk more on my channel than I do cooking? Because my channel is called Cooking for Health with Timah. Well, because food is more than what you eat, right? So just like when you put food inside your mouth and our body processes it and then we do an elimination, same thing with thought processes. Anything and everything that we take into our body is considered food, okay? So you learn stuff, get knowledge, whatever, you process it through the mind and it comes out, right? We even take in people's, let me turn this down. We do the same thing with people's pains. We connect to their pain, process it, but most of the time we continue to hold on to their pain. We start to resonate with their pain. We connect with their pain. We get dopamine from their pain. Their pain seems to actually excite us, right? So here's something in particular, right? So actually one of the first videos that I put out, actually a few of the first videos that I put out wasn't even about cooking. It was just be about my journey. And the very first video I put up was in 2016. It was the warning video where I showed you guys the fibroids that I was causing to come out of me. Okay. Yeah, so that was in 2016, right? And then came the video where I told you guys about my story, right? And so, you know, I'm showing you guys some food that I was eating and, you know, whatever. So food is more than what you eat. It's everything that we take into ourselves. Knowledge, pain, emotions, all that, right? Right? So, and it's the pain, right? So we connect to people's pains on so many levels. The only thing is, when we connect to people's pains, we tend to hold on to it and don't relieve it. We never release ourselves of this pain that we're holding on to. And it's like dopamine, start getting this high off of it. So you start searching around the internet so you can connect to somebody else that's going through something that you're going through, you know. And in this case, it's fibroids. It's a disease of the body, right? So you're going around and you're watching all their videos, right? And it's like exciting you. It's like, oh wow, look at this. Oh, she said this and about this and about the fibroid, because you just connected to their pain. That's called trauma bonding. You're trauma bonding with these people, and see, and that's not something that I don't want that. I don't want that for my channel. I don't want people coming to my channel because they're trauma bonding to me. That's sick. It is. It's sick. That's a mental illness because you're trauma bonding. I mean, and I get that you're trying to find something to connect to because you want to heal, but you're connecting to somebody's pain. And that's why the only video where I show where and that was the video why I eat this way. And the only reason that I put that video up was to show you guys and to explain to you guys what I did, let you guys know somewhere of who I am. And that's the only video that I did like that. But I found that a lot of you guys connected to that video, but it was on a traumatic level. And I just didn't want that. And so I sought to shift away from that because trauma bonding can be very addictive. You know what I'm saying? That's what a lot of people do in these tumultuous relationships, these traumatic relationships, these dysfunctional relationships, right? They have a trauma bond with this person, and that's why they're staying around with them. Because, yeah, so, anyway. I don't want to get off into that, but that's trauma bonding. And so, as I started showing you guys other things that wasn't traumatic, it's like you couldn't process it, because that's not where you are. Because where you are is with the trauma. That's what you're resonating with the trauma. The traumatic part of the story. That's where you are right now. I'm feeling all this pain. I need this to go. And this person over here is talking about the same thing. So, you know, I can connect with this person telling me about their story and how sad they are and how they got up in the morning and they just feeling all this pain, because I be feeling all that pain too. You're trauma bonding. That's not healing. That's trauma bonding. Now, I can see that if you're watching something, and this is what I saw that a lot of people did with that video that I put up too. You watch it, and it clicks, and it just goes, okay, that's what she said she did. She did that. She did that. She stopped doing this, and she's doing that. That's what I need to do. But instead, you guys, I'm noticing that a lot of you guys are like, I need more trauma. I need more of the trauma. I need to be able to connect with you on the trauma. I can't connect to you talking about you happy. I can't connect to you because I'm not in a happy space. My energy ain't there. And you talk about energy, and you talk about chakras, and I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Sound like some voodoo, some witchcraft, and all that type of stuff to me. I sound like a lot of y'all, right? I don't want to stop eating this. I don't want to stop eating my chicken. I don't want to stop eating my hog maws. I don't want to stop eating this. I don't want to stop drinking my pop. I don't want to stop doing this, and I want to stop doing that. My ancestors was doing this, and they were fine. You know, back in slavery, they was eating all kinds of stuff, and they was fine. You see how big their bones was, and they was doing this and that. You ain't them. You ain't them. You ain't none of them people and the people prior to that. You ain't them. Sure, our ancestors reside within us, within our blood, but you ain't them. That's not you, and that's not your reality. The reality that we have going on right now is GMO foods, okay? All this Frankenstein crossbreeding of stuff, the chemicals in water. It's just a whole bunch of mess that's going on that's messing you up, okay? But hey, definitely you can put in your body, and you know this, you can put whatever you want inside your body, because that vessel is yours. You control that. That's yours. I'm going to put in what I want to put inside my body, and you put in what you're going to put inside of your body. You know, and here's something that I talked about before, okay? I made a video on this in regards to Dr. Sebi, okay? Dr. Sebi, some of y'all didn't like this, but so what? Because it wasn't anything negative about it. You just didn't understand the information that I was putting out. So you cannot resonate with it. The only thing that you can think of is food and what you want to put inside your mouth. So the information, because maybe he didn't actually go through all this stuff for you to put it inside your head. He just said, okay, you need to eat this, stop eating that. But if you had to listen to what Ma'ah said, which was his wife, Ma'ah was on some psychological mental stuff, okay? Every now and then you get that from Dr. Sebi. If he wasn't starting, if Dr. Sebi would do this funny thing, he cracked me up. He was crazy. It's like if he didn't really want to answer a question, he'd get like, what? If he didn't want to answer a question, or if he thought you wasn't listening, basically, if he didn't want to answer a question or something, then you know he do this type of roar thing. See, he reminded me of one of my grandparents. I knew my grandmother and my grandfather. I have my grandparents. I know a lot of y'all see Dr. Sabi as being like your grandfathers, because maybe you didn't have one, so you adopted him as your grandfathers. And I mean, you know, that's a good thing. But see, I knew my grandfather. I knew him, and I knew if he started to bark, if he was giving some type of directions or something, and he started to bark at you, like Dr. Sabi would do, he didn't want to answer the question. For whatever reason, he just didn't want to answer the question, so he started barking at you, and that bark made you back down, because that's what your parents was doing to you. Your parents bark at you to program you to back down. That's what that so-called alpha dog do to its little, you know what I'm saying? It starts to growl and start to bark and make you back down. So, but in that video where I was talking about Dr. Sabi and talking about the root chakra and did he know about chakras, because none of that was negative in regards to him. That's actually a good thing. But, you know, I understand why some people shy away from talking about chakras. It's because that mental mindset that has been programmed in a lot of people, particularly black people. My channel is black, so I'm talking black people. Black, brown, you know, melanated people. Our minds have been so indoctrinated with religion and with other stuff, to where you think that talking about chakras, talking about spirit work, talking about just anything out of your norm, out of your little box that you've been put in, you think that it's evil. Evil is an energy. You think that it's evil. You think that it's, I mean, you know what I'm saying? This is just the way that y'all are thinking about stuff. So if Dr. Sabi didn't know about it, and this was a comment that was actually put up under my video, if Dr. Sabi knew about it, he sure as hell couldn't have told y'all, because y'all wouldn't have been listening. Y'all wouldn't have listened to anything that he had to say in regards to how you can be healed, how you can actually heal yourself, okay? How he was getting people to heal themselves. See, because in that video, I was talking about this journey that he said that he took. He said that he took a journey. And that journey sounded like root chakra work to me. How he told that journey. In regards to him being impotent, that sounded like root chakra work. Impotence, that's your genitals. That's root chakra. And the process that he went through, that's root chakra work. So I know he said he never read a book, but he talked to people. He talked to people, he listened to people. I talk to people, I listen to people. I also read books too, though. And I tell you the books that I read. And in my book, I tell you what books I read. And if I found that you are somebody that I appreciated your information, then I made mention to you in my book. Right? So, yeah. So, but, what was I saying? Oh, shit. There was a point that I was making, and right now it escapes me. That point escapes me. So, let me just drink some tea. Maybe I can get back on track. Okay, so anyway with that, there's this lady that I know really well, right? Like sisters, right? Okay. And I'm going to tell you this story because I'm going to tell you something else that's going to connect with this story. Oh, but hold on. I'm about to get back on track with stuff that I was saying, right? Okay, so that trauma bonding thing. Okay, so with my channel, I don't want anybody trying to trauma bond with me. And I've said this before. I do not want anyone trying to trauma bond with me on that level. That is very low vibrational energy, okay? You're trauma bonding out of fear. You're trauma bonding out of sadness. You're trauma bonding out of pain. And you're holding all this energy in. And so when you see somebody else that's talking about a same situation that you're in, because you've held this energy in, this pain, this energy of pain, this energy of sadness, this energy of excuse me this energy of being in a bad mental space, okay? So when you see people putting out videos like that, that's resonating with you. So you start to follow that person and listen to all the type of stuff that they have to say, and they're sitting there in front of their camera and telling you, oh, now day 1 or this is day 10 of me going through this pain, and oh my gosh, I woke up and there was just blood all over my mattress, and I'm just having cramps today, and oh my gosh, I know you have been going through this. Okay, I know that's an exaggeration, but that's trauma bonding. That's keeping you in the same mindset, okay? That's not letting you move forward. And the whole point of this, the whole point of my channel is to get you to move forward, not stay stuck in one place, not keep you not keep you looking and focusing on a disease, okay? Because that becomes a disease state of the mind when you continue to focus on stuff like that, because now those dopamines that you've built up from the fear trauma bonding, from the pain, from the sadness, from all that low vibrational energy resonates with your lower 3 energy centers, okay? That's your lower 3 energy centers, and that energy resonates really well with that because you've been in it for so long. You programmed your organs and that area your baby space. You programmed your baby space to hold in all of those negative energies and that dopamine, and you're getting high off of it. And although you say you don't want it, you're still producing the same energy level that allowed you to create it in the first place, and you created it. Now I'm gonna get into that. You created that, and now you're holding on to it, and you're feeding it. So my recommendation, number 1 recommendation would be stop getting a dopamine fix by trauma bonding to all of these videos where you see these ladies putting up videos talking about, oh my gosh, I am on day number 6 of this fibroid and it's kicking my butt. Stop doing that. That's trauma bonding, and you're feeding the fibroid, okay? So now I'm going to go into that story about the lady that's like my sister, right? She was pregnant. And I'm going to tell you how strong, this is how strong the mind is, okay? The mind is very, very strong. So this is how strong the mind is, and this is how we make things manifest. So I talked about this before, and I've been talking about this stuff since I've been putting videos up since 2016, okay? But it hasn't been resonating, but it's starting to resonate with a lot more people. And that's great. Okay, but look. So she was pregnant. She was living in a situation that she didn't want to be in. And she had already had 2 children, 2 beautiful children. But the situation that she was in, she did not want to be in it. She didn't want to be with this man anymore. And she didn't want to bring any more of his children into this world, right? Okay? And she was sad about it. She cried about it, but she didn't want it. She didn't want the child, right? And so she pretty much made a mantra out of this. Now, see, here's the thing. This is mind, body, and spirit working together, okay? Because she had already set her mind, her emotions in order to say she didn't want it. And the next thing I knew, I was getting a call on the phone where she was saying she aborted the baby. She did not go to have it done. She said it came out in the toilet. Okay? That's mind, body, and spirit working together to make something manifest. She manifested so hard. Well, she channeled so hard in regards to not wanting to bring this life into this existence, to where the soul that was going to inhabit that fetus said, okay, I'm not gonna come down and take on that vessel. I agree. Terminate it. And it was terminated. Okay? So we create and we destroy. Okay? We create and we destroy. Okay? That's just the way it is. That's the way this planet is. It creates and it destroys. She created that and she destroyed it. She got rid of it. We create the fibroids that's in us, whether we realize it or not. And I'm not going to ignore that there are other things going on in the environment, like toxins, chemicals, all that type of mess. I'm not going to ignore it. I'm not going to push that aside, because all that plays into this as well. But we create this. We create these environments in our bodies, okay? This is the sacred sacral, right? This is the area of Yemaya. This is the space of great creation. And then our pussy is the portal that brings it into this existence, right? Okay. So now I have to think right now, because I think it's called the Bartholomew glands. I think it's called the Bartholomew glands. About the Bartholomew glands. So I remember, and I watched this movie about a week ago, week and a half, about 2 weeks ago, something like that. And it was called The Last Man on Earth. And when I watched that, it reminded me of the Anunnaki text in regards to how women were having children without men, how we reproduce ourselves, right? But when we were reproducing ourselves, we continue to reproduce ourselves. In other words, it kept being females. And in around 2014, 2015, when Facebook had where you can write these notes and stuff, and you tag people in it, and they come in and they make all these comments and stuff. But Facebook doesn't do these notes anymore. I had did a note in regards to that, right? And this is really long. I write a lot. I think a lot, and I write a lot, which is what allowed me to write my books. I don't really talk a lot, and that's the habit. That's the habit that I need to get out of, because I don't really talk. So doing these videos is what pushes me to actually talk, and especially if I do them live, it pushes me to actually talk, to express myself through my words. Because other than that, everything is just going on in here. And then I like to write stuff down, or I like to type stuff out, because that's just me. That's just me. So, but anyway, so that's our sacred sacral, right? That's Yemaya's area. She is over all of our waters as well, right? All right. So in our sacred sacral, and in where I'm talking about how we create, we've created this inside of our body. So thinking about how we create children without using semen, think of that growth, that fibroid that's sitting inside of your uterus as a baby that was not realized, right? Think of it like that, okay? Because what I want you to do is stop hating yourself. Hating yourself, you're hurting yourself, okay? So this is a baby that's unrealized, and this is not far-fetched, because if you do some research in regards to what doctors have been finding inside of these fibroids, you can start to put some stuff together, right? So what I've seen is how in these fibroids, they find teeth, they find hair, and you're not eating teeth, right? You're not eating hair, right? I mean, you're not eating hair. But they find teeth, they find hair, they find other parts of bodies. That was a baby unrealized. That's what this is, okay? Okay? That's what it is. And it's just sitting there, stuck, because the signal that apparently that we had inside of our DNA millennia ago, however long ago, that we were able actually to do this. Our DNA has changed up so much to where we can't do this anymore. Our body does not send this, our brain does not send the signal down so that we can do this, right? Because typically when we get pregnant and we, you know, with the help of our men, we get pregnant, there's a signal that's actually sent up to our brain, right? And releasing of all the estrogens and all this type of stuff, and sending the egg out of our fallopian tube and down into the uterus and attaches to the wall. So the egg attaches to the wall of the endometrium. That's in our uterus. Same thing with the fibroid. It attaches to the thick lining, the endometrium, and it gets stuck. Sometimes it could be inside of the endometrium. Sometimes it could be it gets stuck in the fallopian tube. These are unrealized births that we're having. Now, there was research being done, I think it was around in 2013, something like that, in regards to where these scientists were trying to come up with some type of a chemical to where women can go back to doing that, giving birth to ourselves without the aid of men. So if that research was put out, and if I found out about it within like 2013, and this is what my father said, when you find out about something, more than likely the scientists have been doing it at least 10 to 20 years prior to that, right? So this is something that's already been done. Just like with this I think it's called atrazine, that chemical that was found in the water that was turning the animals, and I did a paper on that back in 2015 too. And then information started catching up. People started being more open and going, oh wow, Okay. So anyway, that atrazine, I think I'm saying the right thing. That atrazine was found in the water because this scientist this corporation contacted this scientist at this college to do some studies on this atrazine, and the results that he found was that it was turning these frogs, the different amphibians, animals in the area, from male to female, and it was causing them to have various behaviors. The male amphibians to have various types of behaviors as if it was female. It was causing them to grow uterus as if it was a female, right? Although they weren't female. They were now Frankenstein's monsters. That's basically, they're Frankenstein's monsters, okay? So that atrazine had already been used. It was being used 10 years prior. That stuff had been out for years. And so now we see that they're actually giving men the chemical to actually change themselves. So none of this was a coincidence with the atrazine being put inside the water. None of that was coincidence. There are no coincidences. It's done for a reason. Everything has a plan, okay? It all has a plan. It was a test to see what would happen, and then they contracted this guy so that he can actually test it further and give him the results. And there was some crazy stuff that went on around that too, where they were threatening him and whatever. But anyway, so yeah, it's kind of going. Hold on, I gotta get back on track. But yeah, so that was actually planned. That was planned so that they can change men into women. And so you'll see inside of the black community where that is really running rampant. It's running rampant within the black community. And they're not going to have these surgeries or to get these chemicals because it's in what you're eating, right? So, but I'm going to back off of that because I want to go back into this in regards to the science, in regards to the scientists making this chemical for women, so that because they want to do this thing where we can go back into having babies on our own without men, you know, do the asexual thing, right? So we won't need men anymore. Men were brought in for a particular reason, which was for the protection, because, you know, women could get wiped out. I know what you're thinking. No, we can't be wiped out because we can fight just like men. You know what I'm saying. But so that would have been a study that they've already put out. Okay, so you never know, right? There may have been something like that inside of some food or some sort of drink or whatever that we took in, and so we developed these growths, these unnatural growths in our uterus. Okay, it's no coincidence that it's in our uterus. Okay, I think soon that information will really come out in regards to how women can now women, we have it so that you can have birth without men. You don't need it. They're already prepping us for this type of stuff. So like I said, I saw the movie already. Okay, I saw the movie in regards to how men are not needed anymore. They've already put some information out back in around 2013 or whatever. So shit happens in 3. Okay? It happens in 3. And it's getting everybody on board with it. So now you're going to be spiritually in sync with all this type of stuff. You're going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a good idea to do this. The women will, especially the women that hate men. You hate men, you're going to be like, oh, gosh. Or if you're a man that wants to be a woman and you're like, I want to have a baby, you're going to want that chemical. You're going to let them turn you into Frankenstein's monster. Okay? But we are creating this environment for growth to happen within our bodies, within our uterus in particular. And let me drink some of my tea. Dandelion burdock and stuff, you know, I have that. But we're creating these environments inside of our body, right? It's where our thoughts is with our energy. And again, like I said, it's also external. The chemicals and stuff that we're taking in from the food and the drink or the air. So you just never know, right? So here's what I'm going to say, and also why I told that story in regards to the lady, okay? Because how we manifest things. And this is why I have certain meditations that I came up with inside of my book, because I found that these things work for me. And so hopefully they can work for you. So what you don't want to do, because this is what you're doing, you're hating, you're putting so much hate and anger into your baby space, because that's where the growth is. You completely hate it. It's stressing you out and you're giving it stress. You're feeding it. You're feeding that fibroid. Yes, you are. You are feeding that growth, whether it's a cyst, I don't care what it is. You are feeding it. You're feeding it stress. You're feeding it, it's the energy of stress, because it's all energy. Everything is energy, okay? And you're feeding it energy. And you're feeding it food, because that's its food. And you feed it estrogens. And you're feeding it toxins, okay? So you're feeding it all this stuff. And our bodies were supposed to have ejected it, but because we've been holding on to all of this toxicity in our minds, in our spirit, in our body, we held on to that. But we have to release that, okay? Our bodies want to be relieved of all of this stuff. It wants to be relieved of diseases, of the disease state. It wants to be relieved of all of that. How do you know? That's why we start to break out. Our body talks to us in various types of ways. We're just not listening. We continue to get in our own way because we can't hear anymore. We're so used to listening to other people tell us what we can and cannot do, and who we can and cannot be, and what we should and what we should not know, right? We have to start pushing all of these people out of our heads so that we can have our own thoughts inside of our heads, so that we can manifest on a level that we need and that we want for ourselves. Manifest it away. Don't hate it away. Manifest it away. Okay? Manifest it away. That is a baby unrealized. It's a baby unrealized. It came through your fallopian tubes. Why do you think you can have a fibroid growth in your fallopian tube? Because it was a baby. It was the egg coming through, and it got stuck because it didn't have all the signals that it needed to continue on its journey, so they can come through your pussy portal and turn into a human. So stop doing things to hurt yourself. Stop holding on to the hate. Stop holding on to the hate and pain that other people are actually putting into you, that you are connecting to, okay? So like, talk so much. You know, like when the Orange Man was in the White House, I don't care who's in the White House, it gonna make no difference. But when the Orange Man was in the White House, and he people were so angry. But here's the thing, there are reasons to make you angry, okay? That was a good one right there. Excuse me. Woo! Okay. But there are reasons to make you angry. It's because you can be controlled when you're angry. But see, and the thing is, it's not just that you're angry. People are enraged. They were enraged over this man. But these are situations that were being controlled and planned so that you could be enraged. Become enraged because of all this. Because when you're enraged, when you're angry and stuff like that, you ain't thinking. You're not thinking logically. There is no possible way for you to think logically when you are enraged. And that's energy. All that rage, all that anger, all of that is energy. And that energy can be used. And so your energy was being used and is being used because you're not using it. You're not in control of it. It's in control of you. And if someone can get you to be enraged like that, they can control you to get you to do whatever the hell they want you to do. And they did. And they do. Okay? So, a holistic health journey is going to incorporate all of it. It's not just going to tell you about eating certain food. It's going to help you get your mind right so that you can know why you're eating certain food, and so that that food that you're taking in will resonate with the energy of that food will actually resonate with your organs now, because you're clearing up all this muck, right? See, because you're eating all this oh gosh, I think Dr. Layla Africa said it the best. Dr. Layla Africa said it the best. Actually, he's the one that I initially heard talk like this, right, during my studies as I was learning to heal myself. He talked about how food addictions connected to your emotions, okay? All that. He put this information out there, all right? Food addictions connected to your emotions. Sweets connected to not being loved, all right? Eating a lot of salty foods and stuff like that. You got anger issues. All of this stuff plays a part in your emotions. All this food that you're eating is about your emotions, and because you haven't learned to control your emotions and you're letting your emotions control you, which is why you're actually eating the way that you're eating. You cannot stop. You are addicted to it. You are addicted to these emotions because they are causing these dopamines to pump out all of these hormones. You have to run all those hormones out of your body. You have to run all that hormones out of your body, okay? That's part of the fight or flight mode. You have to run it out. Oh, okay. I heard, what's his name? His name is, start with a J. Joe Dispenza. Okay. So I appreciate the way he disseminates his information, although the information that he's getting is stuff that like Dr. Joe Pulcrum talks about, is information that Dr. Layla Africa has been talking about before he came onto the scene. But I appreciate the way he disseminates his information, and he talks about the chakras. He talks about fight or flight mode. He talks about all this stuff that Dr. Layla Africa talked about, that Dr. Joe Pulcrum, all of them talked about, right? But he puts it in a certain way so that his audience can connect to it on a logical way, right? So he doesn't make it spiritual or anything like that. So he doesn't even talk about his chakra work, but that's what he's doing, okay? Same thing what Dr. Sebi did. Dr. Sebi was talking about chakra work and spirituality without actually saying that's what it was. But the information that was coming through him, he was talking about chakra work. He was talking about chakra work. He knew about this, whether he said it or not. He knew about it. And I think it's a really good thing that he didn't tell y'all, or else y'all wouldn't even listen to him. You know, I said that before. Y'all wouldn't even listen to him if he said it, because you thought it was some spooky type of stuff because of your programming, because of your mental programming, church stuff. That your religious programming is what keeps you from moving forward. It's your religious programming keeping you from moving forward. Because if you were to actually learn that the chakras is about, so example, your sacral chakra, that's your womb area. That's the different organs that's around in that area. It's not just your womb, right? Okay? Where did what did I do with, hold on y'all, what did I oh well, anyway. So anyway, I might end up cutting that section out or just leave it in, I don't care, whatever. But anyway, so let me drink some more. I feel my throat getting dry. Okay, so, but anyway, that's our womb area. Okay, that's the sacral chakra, that's our womb area, that's the second chakra, right? The color of that is orange. So it's not just the womb, like I was saying, it's all the organs that's in that area, right? Around in that area. So that's gonna be, and I made a video about that one. This that's about your kidneys. So this is also, I could talk about above and below, but I've already made a video in regards to above and below. So your kidneys, which can affect your eyes, so the puffiness that would be around your eyes. So that's Yemaya's water. Sacral chakras, they're talking about Yemaya. Okay, so that's it could be an imbalancement of water. So it's also like the gallbladder. It's all this in that area, right? So, and it's our nerves, okay? It's the nerves. So it's not made up stuff. This is stuff that, you know, this is information that I would recommend that you look into. I would recommend that you look into it. And when I found that I was doing my initial research in regards to what chakras were, I kept coming up with stuff where people were just talking about colors and stones and just doing meditations, you know. I saw where some people talked about emotions, but not really, but some people talked about emotions. And then, I mean, you know, and so I figured, I said, okay, so the thing that people have in common is everyone's talking about this area is this color, and these emotions with this area. So I figured, okay, I need to go deeper into this. Exactly what is this? See, because when you're going through some type of traumatic event and you're trying to heal yourself, at least I get real creative. I get real creative, and I start looking for I look for other stuff. I don't do this mainstream in the box programming type of stuff, right? I look for other stuff, and I knew that I wasn't going to go and have surgery, so I knew that I need to do something completely different, right? And then so I started looking a bit deeper, you know, and I had my color theory class in school, so I knew something about color. And so, but even that class didn't take it to where I needed it to, because that's just dealing with color. It's dealing with computer generated colors, dealing with pigments, you know what I'm saying, dealing with light sources, you know. So I needed to be able to put all of this information together in a way that I could really resonate with it. All right. So I said, okay, if the sacral, my wound, is the color orange, and it's supposed to, well, I knew that it couldn't just be orange and just my wound, and people are talking about these emotions. So I decided, okay, well, let me look into this a bit deeper and see, okay, so what other organs? So I looked and I saw, okay, so these other organs are inside of this area of the sacral. So it's not just the womb that's here, it's all this other stuff. So this is how I started setting my mind, right? To get my mind, to actually get my mind right? Okay. So I started doing more and more research on it. And and the more I wanted to know stuff, the more information I found was coming to me. The more I started to get these different channels to where information was just starting to open up, and I was starting to be directed to other people who were actually speaking on information, right? And so I started gravitating more and more to that, right? So I learned of Dr. Laila Africa, and Dr. Laila Africa was laying it down. So I was like, this man, he talking about some stuff I don't know about, that I'm interested in, right? So, you know, you get his books and you start listening to him. And so this was when I wasn't really, actually I wasn't on the internet. I had a YouTube. I didn't know how to use a YouTube. I didn't know about, I heard about Facebook, but I really wasn't using Facebook. And this was during the time I was still working with Microsoft, you know, but I wasn't like on the computers doing stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Although I was working with computers, because I was training people. I was training people on computers. I was doing training on hard lines and soft lines, you know, training and how to actually sell that stuff. I still got a lot of stuff from when I was working with them. I would give out so many prizes. I know this is off the subject, but I still have so much stuff from them. I have these, you know, the cards. What do you call it? The Xbox cards, where you can use it on the system, so you can have the yearly subscription. Yep, I still have all those things, and you know, that stuff don't expire. But I still have those. I have these jump ropes. I have, oh my gosh, I got so much stuff. I got all these flash drives. I got like 1,000 fucking flash drives with Office, all kinds of shit on it. Oh my gosh, well, let me get off of that. But yeah, I mean, I got so much stuff. But yeah, so I was working still with them, during the time that I was going through my issues with that and eliminating it from my body, that I was kind of tired of that job too. I was really tired of that job, spiritually, mentally, and physically. I was just drained of it. And then one day it was just over. I was done. I was over. I was out the door. Yeah. And then I found that once I was out of the door from that, I was really able to really heal, because I was away from all that. Because that in itself I found to be stressful. It was the people that I was around. The people were stressful. The job that I was doing was not stressful at all. It was the people. The people and their mindset, their freaking mentalities. I didn't want to be around that anymore. It was too tiring. My spirit wasn't dealing with it anymore. It was tired of it. It wanted to be gone. It wanted to be away from that. My mind was really not on the job, and I didn't even have to work in an office. Okay, I was working that on my terms. You know what I'm saying? I was working it on my terms from my home. So I leave my home when I wanted to leave my home and go and train some people. You know what I'm saying? I fly out to Seattle, go to the headquarters. There's big ass campus and stuff. Oh my gosh, it's huge. Go to Florida. We always stayed in the Hiltons. It's good. I mean, it was lovely. I love the traveling and stuff. You know, that I did. I just didn't like the people. I didn't like the people at all. Their energy was real sucky and just really messed up. I didn't like being around. I didn't like being around that. Not at all. But so that's over. Ooh, that's so over. I'm so glad that's over. The funny thing is, once that was over, within about a week, Google contacted me to do some work with them. Ain't that something? Yeah. I messed with them for maybe 2 weeks and then left it alone. I was like, no, I'm done with y'all. The mindsets are just, can't mess with that. Can't mess with it at all. But yeah, so I was going through my healing process while I was with them. But I didn't find until I was completely away from that. I couldn't completely heal until I got all of that off me, because that was stress. That was stress. Being around those people was very stressful to me. And I had to get all of that off of me. You know what I'm saying? So I relieved myself of that stress. You know, universe said, no, you don't need to be there. So I was gone. So I meditate. Oh man. And don't, again, and I know I said this before, don't worry about the length of time. It's the quality of your actual meditation. It's the quality of it, right? You just have to learn how to actually focus that thought. Focus that thought and you'll get it. Focus that thought. Inside of my book, there are, the first book has 3 chapters because it's only dealing with the lower 3 chakras, right? So you're going to be going through the root chakra, you're going to be going through the sacral chakra, and you're going to be going through the solar plexus chakra, right? So that's it there. So the entire thing, that's my story. I'm gonna go and get my book because I want to read something to you guys. Okay, enjoy the scenery and the music. Hold on. Matter of fact, let me do this. Enjoy the sounds until I come back and the scenery. Y'all enjoy with the music loud enough so you can hear it? It's just some meditation music. My salsa music then went off. I don't even know when it went off. I was too zoned out to even realize it had went off. And really, that's what I would prefer to have on. So I'm going to change it up. I need different energy. Where'd it go? Okay, play on. There we go. Add that. There we go. I always listen to instrumental music. I don't really care to listen to music where people are singing. Yeah, like that right there. I prefer to have instrumental music. That's just always been. It's always. Yeah, I've always been like that. I've always preferred to just listen to instrumental music because it gets me into the zone. You know, I zone out to just instrumental music. And besides, there's an energy inside of the music, especially when people are singing. Women are singing, and they're singing their sad stories. See, that's their energy inside of that music, and you start to connect to that energy that's inside of it. And I never wanted to connect to anybody's energy like that inside of these songs. So I preferred, and this started with me when I was like about 14 years old. I always preferred to listen to instrumental music. And the instrumental music that I would really zone out to would be like house music. So I would really zone out to that, and I would really get into my creative head because initially, you know, I was a designer. Still am a designer. You know what I'm saying? But I would zone out to that and just start creating. I'd have all these images inside of my head, and instead of drawing it out, I just start creating it. I make work clothes. I mean, my first contract was with Wilson's Leather. You know, I was designing clothes. I did a 4-way leather jackets with them. And then I also designed footwear, like wearable footwear, yeah. The first pair of shoes I made, I think I was like about 11, 12 years old. You know, I asked my mom, could I make it? She said yes, and I did. Then I learned that her father was a cobbler. So I got that honestly, so yeah. So I found that the things that I can do naturally, a lot of my ancestors were already doing it. So like cooking, my mom was a cook, you know. I worked with her because my mom was a cook. She fed the entire neighborhood and past the neighborhood. Oh my gosh, she fed everybody. And she had me in the kitchen. She had us in the kitchen cooking up food for everybody to come and purchase. Yeah, we did that. So there were no recipes. Not necessarily written down. It's watch what I do and you do it. That's why y'all would have seen my videos like that and y'all were like, where are the ingredients? Because I wasn't raised like that. But anyway, so I wanted to read something to you guys. This is in chapter 2. Hold on. Is this chapter 2 or this is my chapter? This is in chapter. No, this is in chapter 3. Okay. This is chapter 3, right? And it's called chapter 3, Fire, Oshun, Matter to Energy. Keeping our organs functioning smoothly and preparing the body to respond to stress by making changes in metabolism. There's something in particular that I wanted to read though. The things that I know of is that we have to forgive ourselves, right? All this negative energy that we hold on to. Let me turn this down. Because, you know, they'll flag this. Turn this down. Although it's streaming from YouTube, it'll get flagged. Although it's streaming from YouTube. Okay, but yeah, so all the energy, all these negative emotions, these thoughts, all this type of stuff, all this shit inside of the past. Release this stuff, and releasing it, we have to forgive ourselves, right? Number one is forgiving yourself. You forgive someone else, but you don't have to go to them to forgive them. You forgive them inside of yourself. Now, this is just the way I see it. This is how I agree with the information. You forgive yourself. Forgive yourself, and in forgiving yourself, you're forgiving that person, right? Because you're no longer holding on to any of that anger, hate. You're just not holding on to any of those energies that's caused you to hurt yourself, right? Okay. So I had some of our older relatives, right? And depending on where your relatives came from, down south or whatever, they may have had you guys doing this because, you know, how they grew up. You know, they were into some of this, and, you know, you call it voodoo, whatever. They were into this. And so they would tell you about burning paper, writing stuff down, and you burn the paper, right? And let the ethers have it. So a lot of us know this information. This is some of what I put inside of my book too, because this is just information from our people, right? Okay. So, in addition to that, this is also something that I put in there that I want to read you. So, when you burn the paper, the picture, or the clothes with fire, of course, that can't destroy the action that happened. However, you can transmute that energy and mentally and emotionally rewrite your story. Do not hold on to those emotions. They will shape you and deform your mind and body, causing deficient habits and a warped personality. The experience of trauma has already happened. Now it's only in your mind as a thought and a memory, and in your body as an emotion. Remove the emotion that's attached to it and replace it. Once you can detach from those emotions, you can begin to heal by working through it. Until then, you're still that child asking, why did this happen to me, right? This is just how I started seeing stuff, you know. So that was what allowed me to even write this inside of my book, and to even start thinking to write that inside of my book. Because everything, and just like, and so you'll hear Dr. You'll hear Joe Dispenza talk about things that's inside of the past, because it is. Everything is inside the past. What I just said is now inside of the past, right? Everything is inside of the past. Anything that has hurt you is something from inside of the past. It's already happened. It's gone. The only thing that's going on now is you're continuing to remember it. You keep bringing it up, or you're triggered by something that might happen now in your present moment. You might get triggered by something that reminds you of something that happened in the past, and so now it's hurting you because you haven't disassociated that emotion from that memory, right? So you can disassociate it all. And this was stuff that I had to do, right? I had to, you know, or else I wouldn't have been able to move forward. And that's the whole point. It's to move forward. It's not to stay stuck in one spot. See? So you have to move forward. And then, so with this being the baby space, and it's holding on to this energy that turned into a fibroid, what's called a fibroid, right? Which is just a growth. It's just something that we grew out of pain, anger, coupled with environmental toxins or whatever, you know, and then how our DNA has changed over time, so we couldn't bring that baby to fruition. So it's sitting there, right? And then we keep feeding it. We're feeding it and feeding it and feeding it. But we're feeding it the wrong things. Because if we put the right energy, the right vibration into it, it can go on its own. So, although I did use the apple cider vinegar along with the baking soda to help in doing that, that's not the only thing that I did. This is a holistic thing. So, holistic thing, again, you have to work on all of those emotions because the emotions are still being held in that area. So you have to relieve yourself of the emotions, all of that mess that's going on in the past. And so you might even be in a relationship, right? You might be in a relationship, just like the story I told you about the lady that caused herself to have, to abort the baby. She didn't do anything in particular. She didn't take anything. She didn't jug anything up in it. She didn't go to the doctor to have it done. She had her mind set in a particular way in order to allow it to happen and to manifest within her body, right? Okay, so the emotions is food. Emotions is food that we continue to feed our body, right? Emotions, anger, sadness, fear, all of that. We're holding on to all of that. And seeing the things that we've never been told when we were growing up is to release it. Release it, let it go. Okay? You've already moved through it. When you're in the moment of that emotion, okay, yes, completely feel it, embrace it, it's yours, but turn it loose. You can't continue to go throughout your life and your days holding on to that, because it starts to distort and it turns into something else. And now you're just hurting yourself, right? You're just hurting yourself, all right? Because now maybe it got you some type of attention to continue to hold on to this. You're getting attention from somebody that's like, you're going to be okay, right? They continue to pat you up. They continue to feed that ego that you have built up that surround that emotion that you had because of some type of a hurt. So now you done built up an ego, and that ego needs to be fed. And so now the people that's around you, they're feeding that ego based on some type of fear, some type of trauma, something that happened to you in your past. But that you're not even in that trauma anymore. That trauma has long since been gone, but you're still embracing the energy of it because it gets you some type of attention. Whether you know it or not, that's what's going on, right? So you gotta let it go. It's causing your eating problems, okay? It's causing you to feel, it's causing your eating problems. It's causing your eating problems. You can't let them sweets go. It's causing your eating problems. It's an emotional attachment that you even have to the sweets. When I would hear Dr. Laila Africa talk about this would crack me up, because he would talk about how people be talking about, hey sweetie, they always call you sweetie, hey love, hey sweetie, because they're addicted to sweets and they don't really get it. And whenever you're going over to their homes, they have all these sweets laid out. Number one thing that's going to be laid out for these so-called holidays is going to be some sweets. It'll probably be more sweets sitting out than will be actual food. Or an even amount of sweets to food, right? Because it's an addiction. It's an addiction. And it's based on your emotions, and it's also the chemicals that's in it. So now it's a bunch of some of everything. Okay, so yeah, these producers, they have found ways to get us connected and dependent on certain things, you know, we get this certain stimuli from it, but it's in our emotional field. It's in our emotional field. And you detach yourself from that pain, that past trauma. You can relieve yourself of that food addiction. Okay? You can relieve yourself of the food addiction. Like eating potato chips, salty stuff. It's the salt that's on the potato chips, and it's also the crunch that's inside of potato chips. Dr. Layla Africa talked about all this type of stuff. He is the Dr. Layla Africa. Dr. Layla, I talk about it in my book too. But Dr. Layla Africa is the one that put this type of information out into the universe. I don't know if anybody else did, because I don't know. But Dr. Layla Africa is the one that put it out there. And his channel is on the front page of my YouTube channel. So, and he's always been there. Him and Dr. Drew Pulcrum, they've always been there. So, some of you may have clicked and went and checked him out and to understand. Hopefully you did. If you didn't, you should. Go and check him out. Go and check out Dr. Drew Pulcrum. Okay, go and check out all these people. Don't get dry. Talk too much. Yeah. Yeah, my throat gets dry. Talk too much, my throat will get dry. Besides, I'm around computers and technology and stuff, and that stuff is drying to your mucous membrane. Yes, it is. That stuff will mess you up. So you gotta try to stay hydrated. Not necessarily just with water, but with juices, with sea moss. The mucus inside of sea moss is like the best thing for, you know, coaxing down our organs and stuff. But yeah. So, but yeah, I wrote about Dr. Layla Africa inside my book because he was very inspiring to me as far as my journey, and I really appreciate the information that he was able to pass on and leave. And I know he's resting in peace because he did a lot of work here. He did a lot of work here. So yeah. But yeah, so you know, energy flows where your attention goes. So if you focus on health and healing, not pain, fear from the past, you know, you get what you ask for. Just like in Aladdin, you get what you ask for. So you have to be very, very careful when you ask. When you start putting energy out there and saying that you want certain things to happen, you need to be very, very specific. Because just like in Aladdin, what the genie told Aladdin, when Aladdin made a wish and said that he wanted to be, he said he wanted to be king or something like that. Paraphrasing. So the genie told him, that's a big ask. I don't think you really know what you're asking. Then he gave him an example, you know, and he showed him this other guy that said that he wanted to be king. He's king, but he's king of sand. He's king over sand dunes. That's it, because he wasn't specific. He said he wanted to be king. He made him king, but he put him wherever he wanted because he wasn't specific. So you have to be very, very specific on your ask, on what you are channeling. You need to be very, very, very specific on what it is that you want. And your spirit, your mind, and your body, everything deep down into your soul needs to be in coherence to make it all happen. That's how we were able to manifest these things inside of our body, whether we know it or not. Okay. You know, I don't even get sick anymore. And during during Thanksgiving, prior to Thanksgiving, a small group, a few people did a fast with me. The fast lasted like 7 days. The actual fasting of it was 3 days, but the whole thing took us through Thanksgiving. Now here's the thing, see, around Thanksgiving, there was a lot going on in regards to that virus, right? And there was word that, oh, the biggest strain hasn't hit yet, right? And so the information that was being put out was that it's really going to affect black people. It's really going to affect black people. Okay, so this is on a whole other thing, though. I mean, I could really go into that one. As a matter of fact, I kind of did in this video. I kind of did. It's a 2-hour video. It's a 2-hour video on my channel. Hold on, I'm about to find the name of that video. And hold on, I could probably find it easier this way. Bazooka. It is. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. It's called. Whoops. Okay, hold on. What happened? Wait. Okay. This video here, Healing the Wounded Child, a heart chakra story. Okay. That video there. Okay. I dropped some extra stuff inside of that intentionally, but then there was stuff that I didn't want to say inside of that video, but I dropped a lot of stuff. Inside of that video. Kind of touching on, you know, that virus thing and what was going on around there. So around Thanksgiving, they were talking about how, you know, this is just going across the media. I don't watch the news. I couldn't tell you the last time I actually watched the news. I don't know. So the only reason I know this is because other people that watch news, I hear that said. And then if I go on social media to post something, then, you know, that was like the number one things that they want to pop up. They want you to see this type of stuff. They want this stuff to resonate inside your head so you connect to it, right? Okay. So they were saying that this was going to be the strongest one, and it was going to be going to really hit black people. So we did a fast. 7 days. Took us right through Thanksgiving. None of us got sick. A lot of people that I know, actually the people that I know that didn't fast, they got sick, and they went through it. They had symptoms. They thought they was gonna die. Like, they did. They went through all kinds of stuff. And then I saw this guy that does lectures. He's somebody that I appreciate as well, and I wrote about him inside my book too. I'm not going to mention his name because I don't really think he wants his name mentioned, so I won't be mentioning his name. But he was talking about how he and a lot of his friends, families, everybody got dog sick, and he was talking about the stuff that they went through, and I was like, holy shit, you know. But I didn't get sick. And the people that did the fasting with me didn't get sick neither. And then after fasting, we did a detox cleanse. See, because for me, that's being light as a feather. See, because all that congested waste that's held inside the body, along with all those negative emotions and stuff, all those are blocks, right? And so an energy is supposed to pass, it's supposed to go in you and pass through you. You ain't supposed to keep holding on to this stuff. You go in, resonate with you, get out, right? Same thing with these viruses. Come in, you push it out. You're not supposed to hold on to it, and I'm hearing it. They were holding on to this stuff for like about a month. My family included. They held on because they didn't, not all of them did a fast or did a detox. Anyone who didn't got sick, got dog sick. One of my relatives was like, just fell out on the floor, coming from the bath. Oh my gosh. It was just horrible stuff. But me being light as a feather, allowing it, whatever, to do whatever it was going to do, pass through my body and get the hell on, that's exactly what it did. Because I didn't have anything, there was nothing that was blocking it. I had nothing, I wasn't holding on to no extra shit inside of my intestines to where it could have circulated and stayed in me to make me sick, to make me feel all the stuff that these people were going through. And it goes, but here's what did happen though. Okay, here's what did happen. I I heard this mentioned that he did this too, and this also happened with some of my relatives. Okay, so but prior to that, because my ears were itching, and he did this too. We was putting peroxide inside of our ears. So when I heard him say he was doing that, and that was something that I had did, and I was like, damn, he doing the same damn thing. So we're both doing the same damn thing. So we were putting peroxide inside of our ears. So I didn't have equilibrium problems though. I didn't have that, but I felt that I needed to put peroxide inside of my ears. So I did. At one point, I felt like I probably couldn't breathe. So I felt something come up like in here. But here's what I did, because something that I was doing, and I showed my sister something when we was at the we were in the airport. I showed her how I was manipulating my energy, right? So first I told her to touch my skin. I said, touch my skin. Said, how does it feel? She said, you feel cool. I said, okay, but watch this. And I started doing this during the time when my mom was going through the death process, right? And I showed her this, and I was touching them, and it was crazy. But I was manipulating my energy to where I could heat up my body on wheel, right? So I can heat up my body on wheel. So I showed my sister. So touch my arm. It feels cool. And I said, okay, so watch this. So I sat there just for a moment, and I raised my energy. And then I said, okay, now touch it again. And she was like, you feel kind of hot. You feel hot. And I said, yeah, because I'm raising my energy, because I'm thinking about it like a thermometer. So I'm raising and I'm lowering my energy like a thermometer. So when I got that feeling here, the first thing that came to my mind was, you need to burn this off. So I got down on the floor and I raised my energy and I burned it off. And I was good. I was good. That was the most that actually happened to me. Nothing else happened to me, and you know. But I'm hearing, you know, a lot of people just went through a lot of stuff. And here's, I don't know if I want to talk about this part, but I guess I will, because it all plays. I mean, but again, that's part of being, of me saying being light as a being light as a feather. I was light as a feather. That's one way. The heart, being light as a feather in the heart, is another way. Being light as a feather, to allow that energy, because all it was energy, bacteria's energy. It came in, it did whatever it needed to do, and it left out. Okay? And if some of it is still inside of me, then it's going to do whatever it needs to do. But it's not, it doesn't make me sick. Because I don't get sick anymore. Ever since I went through my journey, I learned all this stuff, and I don't get sick anymore. And you know what I'm saying? I just don't, you know. I don't worry and stress over what I am and what I'm not eating, because I've already programmed myself to know what I am and what I'm not going to eat. And if for some chance I just happen to eat something that has something in it, I don't stress over it, because I know that it's not going to make me sick, and I know how to clean it out of me if that's something that I needed to do, right? So yeah. But yeah, y'all, energy flows where your attention goes. So focus and be clear of thought when you're looking to do some manifestations in regards to your baby space. And again, I have the there is a meditation at the end of the sacral. This is the sacral toning meditation. Okay. Okay, so do the sacral toning meditation. Alright, if you have any questions, then you know a lot of y'all already know how to get in touch with me, because you do. So yeah, and I was asked, how did I come up with this stuff? It came through, a lot of the things that I do comes through channeling. I was channeling back when I was a kid, and I didn't know that's what it was called. I never knew this word channeling, you know, like it's being thrown around now. I never knew this word channeling. And so what I was doing was channeling, and that's how I was able to manifest things to happen for me, you know. So I think the earliest that I would say that I even knew that I was spiritual, I was about, I want to say between 5 and 7 years old. I want to say between 5 and 7 years old. I would have these dreams, but I would do something kind of crazy, right? I would have these dreams. There were like these dark spots or something. It'd be like flying at me. It's like they were attacking me whenever I would go to bed, you know, when I was a kid. And it would kind of scare me. I didn't know what the heck it was, you know. And I wanted to see him because, and I know it's kind of weird, I wanted to see him because I was trying to figure him out, but I would never continue. When I would get to see him, I would never stick with it. And here's something that I would do too. Like, I would go inside the room and I would sit up against the wall and I would just bump my head. I know this sounds crazy as hell. I would bump my head up against the wall, right? And my younger sister saw me doing this, and she ran and she told her mom. She said, "Mom, she hit her head up against the wall again." And her mom said, she said, "You're gonna," what she said? She said, you're gonna knock your senses loose," or something like that. I think she said you're gonna knock your senses loose. It was a long time ago, so I ain't gonna remember that. And so I thought it was a good thing if you knock your senses loose. I mean, because I was young, she didn't explain that to me, so I don't know what she was talking about. So I thought, oh, okay, so I'm gonna knock my senses loose. So I would do it, and then I would go and lay down. Okay, and I would see. Yeah, so I'm thinking about this now. So I would lay down, and I would go to sleep, and I would see these figures just come flying at me. And so one night, instead of coming out of this dream, I stayed with it, yo. I stayed with this dream, and the next thing you know, they turned into like white balls of light, right? I mean, this was crazy. It turned into like white balls of light, and next thing you know, I saw myself floating above what seemed like it was the world, and it was like I saw and I knew everything all at one time. And from there, I recall that was when I started designing. Oh my gosh, I just started being really creative from that moment on. Like really creative from that moment on. It was crazy. It was real crazy. But my mom was like, "You gonna knock your senses loose or something?" I thought it was a good thing. That was crazy as hell though. But that was my earliest. That's the earliest that I can recall. I was like between 5 or 7 years old. Wow, yeah. I made my grandmother a wearable dress. It's yellow. It was yellow, yo. It was yellow, yeah. Okay. I had this friend, invisible friend, and his name was I called him Dragon Lagging, and he was real, but only I could see him. But he was real, and this is what lets me know he was real, because I saw someone post in a group this being same name. They said Dragon Lagging, and I went, what the hell? And so I knew he was real. Now, that was me playing with Dragon Lagging when I was a kid. Dragon Lagging would accompany me when I wanted to fly, when I wanted to do what's called astral projecting, when I wanted to do what's called lucid dreaming, when I wanted to do all that type of stuff. Dragon Lagging was right there. Dragon Lagging was a truck driver. This is crazy. I know. I was 5 to 7 years old. He was a truck driver, right? And it's like we would take these rides together. I know. But I know. It's a trip. Yo. It's a trip. But this entity was real because I made him real with my mind. But then also it was real because later on, like about 2 years ago, in this group, I saw that someone posted the same name. They posted his name. They said Dragon Lagging. I was like, wait, what? I didn't communicate with this person in regards to it, but that person said Dragon Lagging was some type of entity or something. I was like, okay. And that was what made me think back to when I was a child in regards to my so-called make-believe friend. So you can call it my guardian angel. You can call it my ancestor. You can call it whatever the heck you want. But from that moment, yeah, I was very creative because I was doing all kinds of stuff, all sorts of stuff. But I'm not gonna stick on that. Matter of fact, I'm about to end this whole stream here. About to end this. So yeah. Excuse me. Hey, belching is natural. Belching is completely freaking natural. All right. So I used to sign my books when I would send them out. I don't sign them anymore. I don't really care to. But yeah, so the first book has 3 chapters. The second book, and really it was only supposed to be 1 book. It was just supposed to be 1 book. But I thought, in all honesty, I thought this was too big and it was going to cost too much. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want it to cost too much. So I just separated it. So book 2 has 4 chapters in it because it completes book 1. And then I did go ahead and say, okay, you know what? Let me just put the whole thing together. And I put it inside of one book so that you can just get the one book. You don't have to go and buy book 1, then book 2. You can just get book 1. I mean, you can just get my complete journey, and that would be it. You don't have to do anything else. You don't have to go and get all these books that's on my site. You don't have to do that at all. But yeah, so anyway. Oh, and if you have book 1, this is the book 1. If you have book 1, there is a coupon inside of that book. Where is it? It's towards the back of the book. Where it go? There's a coupon inside the book. That coupon, you can use that to get book 2. Okay, so you know, it just knocks the price down. My books aren't that expensive. I didn't want anything to be expensive. The most expensive thing is printing. Printing and shipping is what makes the cost of the books so high. I mean, this one guy, his book was $100. I got his book. I wrote about him in my book. So, but his book was $100. I still haven't read through his whole book yet. At some point I will, but I haven't read through it yet. I'm going to pick up that book again and read. I do like a lot of reference stuff though.